Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Initially, central locks were created as an additional security element. Now they are more perceived as a device for providing additional comfort. And this is largely true, as the car owner has the ability to open all door locks at the touch of a button. In addition to opening and closing the doors, modern central locks, CZ, are equipped with devices that control the window lifters, the car fuel tank lid, and the luggage compartment. This is an auxiliary element of almost every modern car, which can be installed on your vehicle. But before you need to understand in detail what it is, how it works, and whether, in general, you need such equipment on your car. What it is. The full name for the CP sounds like a system of central locking of all available locks of the car. But this is too long and complicated designation, in connection with which motorists have switched to a shortened form and call the system simply central locking. It is necessary to understand what central locks in cars are and why they are needed. This auxiliary device is designed to perform simultaneous opening and closing of all car doors. Additionally, it can control the fuel filler flap, window elevators, luggage compartment lid, etc. This depends directly on the specific type of device and its connection to the car. The central locking system is positioned as an auxiliary system, which refers to comfort elements rather than safety. The interlocking is realized by centralized or decentralized control type. The centralized version provides for the use of one control unit, which works for the benefit of all car doors. But since the functionality of the central locking system is constantly growing, its capabilities are expanding and the number of controlled elements is increasing, decentralized control schemes have been implemented. Here the central unit is also used, but additionally each door has its own separate control unit. The most common option for modern cars is a decentralized control scheme. Features of the device. Car CP consists of several control units, special sensors, actuators, and other components that are combined into one unified system. Regarding the device, you should know some of the main points. On modern cars, the system is controlled at a distance, that is, remotely, for which an appropriate remote control is used. This is essentially a radio transmitter embedded directly into the car ignition key. From this remote control, the signal goes to the receiving antenna of the main control device of the lock. Usually, this signal can be transmitted over a distance of up to 10 meters on average. Input sensors are present in the locking mechanism. They are microswitches as well as limit switches for all available car doors. Microswitches are used to enable the system to lock the doors in a certain position, close, or open the locks. A special limit switch is needed to send a signal to the control unit and therefore to fix its current or current position, front. Car doors have cam mechanisms with microswitches. They are required to fix the current position of the lock. These cams have a special profile on their surface. One of the switches is responsible for generating the signal for locking, and the other performs the unlocking function. Another pair of switches is responsible for signaling the central locking mechanism of its current state. When they are actuated, a signal is received that the car door is now locked or unlocked. The lever mechanism is used in the lock actuator. In order to fix its certain position and to determine the current position of the car doors, another special important switch is activated. When a car door is opened, the contacts on this microswitch are closed. All switches send control signals to the common ECU as required. After they have been processed, all these signals are now transmitted directly to the central unit. Therefore, they are forwarded to the units on the vehicle's front doors, rear doors, fuel filler flap, etc. The control working units of the doors receive the control signals. That is, the controlling working blocks of the doors receive special signals, which activate the corresponding actuators. Actuators act as actuators. They are connected to gearboxes and are essentially electric motors. When the gearbox rotates the electric motor, the mechanism makes reciprocating movements. This allows you to open or close the lock on the door or other elements of the car. All this concerns electric types of car central locks. It is worth noting that there are also pneumatic systems, but such drives are almost all abandoned. Very rarely there is pneumatics in the central locking system on modern vehicles. It is significantly inferior to electric analogs. Principle of operation. Now it is necessary to understand in more detail how the central lock, installed in the car, works. Such a comfort system provided for the car does not depend on the current state of the ignition. That is, the system will be triggered in any case, regardless of whether the driver started the ignition or not. Functioning can be described roughly as follows. When the driver's door is closed with the key, the locking microswitches are activated. A special signal is sent from the switch to the car door control unit, after which the signal goes to the central unit, which is responsible for all doors, hatch, luggage compartment. The control signal activates the actuators and all the locks close to prevent the actuator from being mistakenly triggered again. A signal is generated in the existing locking central unit, which is formed from the microswitch signals. Releasing the activated locking is carried out in the same way, to enable the driver to lock or unlock the doors from a distance. The ignition key is equipped with a special button. In some cases, a separate key fob is provided. When the button is pressed, a signal is sent to the receiver antenna in the central control unit. The received signal is processed and from the center is redirected to peripheral units, doors, fuel tank, trunk, actuators. Activated by a button on the auto key, lock all available locks. Read also, constantly lit alarm light. Reasons and ways to solve the problem as an additional, but very useful element of comfort, window closers are used. They are part of a single central locking system, which allows you to close all open windows in parallel with the closing of the doors. This is relevant for cars equipped with electric window lifters. As a result, the central locking system can perform 3 functions simultaneously: lock the doors, activate the security system, alarm system, automatically raise all the windows if one or more were lowered. Such multifunctional central locks are convenient in operation, but at the same time their cost increases. Whether a car owner will want to pay extra for a window closer is a purely individual question. It is important to note another advantage. In the event of an accident, the central locking system allows automatic unlocking of all doors. This is done by transmitting a signal from the unit responsible for controlling the vehicle's passive safety systems to the central control unit. Already from the central unit receives commands to the actuators that open the doors. Installation. Given all the possibilities and objective advantages, many motorists think about installing a central lock with their own hands on their own vehicle. To a greater extent, those whose cars from the factory provide for the possibility of installing the central locking system, even if specifically in your configuration, this system is absent. But the car has all the seats and other nuances necessary for quick and easy installation. For installation, you will need to buy a set of central locking system, and according to the available seats to perform the work. But if you have an older car, where even at the factory central locks were not put, everything will have to be done virtually from scratch. This is not a reason to give up the idea, but the task is not the easiest. Beforehand, it is recommended to consult with specialists and study the scheme of your car. The whole procedure can be conditionally divided into 3 main stages: selection of the CP, preparation of materials and tools, installation. The motorist should choose a suitable kit in advance, prepare everything necessary for work, and, relying on a step-by-step guide, realize his idea. Recommendations on the choice of equipment. Start the choice. You need to start with the manufacturer. If you want to get a reliable and qualitatively performing its functions of the central locking system, you cannot save on the purchase in any case. Categorically refuse any cheap Chinese variants. Such economy will not be good for you and your car. The next point of choice is options. Choose only those functionalities that you will really use. Any additional option affects the cost, and it is not always wise to overpay for them. Experienced motorists who actively use central locks recommend choosing equipment equipped with a window closer. Although this is an additional option, it is considered the most useful. It is suitable for cars that have electric window lifters. The usefulness of the option is due to the fact that often the driver and his passengers forget to close the windows due to inattention or haste. The door closer will do this when the central locking system is activated. Another useful addition will be the presence of an automatic closing function after a certain time interval. This option is not available on all models of door locks, but it is very helpful for many people. It is important to take into account that automatic closing does not always play a positive role. There are situations when the motorist leaves the keys inside. If the automation is triggered, there will be a problem in the form of inability to get to the keys. The assortment of CP sets is quite extensive. Choose proven manufacturers and also carefully study the list of available options. Soberly assess what you need and what is better to give up. Do not rush to buy the most advanced and multifunctional central locks, even when the budget allows. Materials and tools before you connect and configure your new central locking system. You will need to prepare the necessary tools and materials. The kit with the central locking system already comes with a connection diagram. Relying on it, it will be much easier for you to do all the work yourself. Basically, motorists need to have central locking kit, wiring, insulating tape, wire cutters, door pistons, drill, screwdriver, screwdrivers, wrenches. Much depends on the design features of a particular vehicle. For some vehicles, the central locking system can be installed using a minimum set of tools together with a set of equipment. Others have to disassemble a number of elements of the car, which may require some additional tools. Step-by-step guide. Now you can proceed directly to the connection of the central locking system. The main components of success can be called the presence of desire, a little patience, and free time to perform the task. Before you connect the central locking system to your car, make sure that the purchased lock is fully equipped. Sometimes manufacturers, or rather sellers, are tricky, offering certain components for a separate fee. If everything is ready, lay out the kit in front of you in a convenient place. Prepare the tools and materials required for the work. Following the step-by-step instructions, you will be able to understand how to install the central locking system yourself. Open the doors of the car. Proceed to remove the inner lining. Be careful, because many fasteners are plastic, and it is very easy to break them. If necessary, they can be replaced, but it is much easier to initially do everything delicately, without creating additional problems. Next, the wiring is installed in the doors. The door locking system must be equipped with a pull rod with a boom, which is connected directly to the pull rod on the door itself. The actuator is carefully connected to the door. For this purpose, choose a convenient protruding metal part. The wiring is pulled through to the control unit, which will be responsible for the operation of the central lock. Care is also important here. Hide all the wires so that they can be accessed, but the risk of mechanical damage is minimal. Use clamps and insulating tape to join several wires into one bundle in different sections of the wiring harness. If it is possible to place the wires under the dashboard, do so. On the doors, you can put the trim back on. Here you will need door pistons. Often they are made of plastic, but there are also metal products. Depending on what pistons are provided on your car. With the door panels back in place, you can proceed to connecting the wiring to the control unit. This stage is rightly considered to be the most difficult and demanding in terms of the quality of work performed. Connection involves connecting the minus, which is made in the form of a black wire, with the mass, and the plus goes to 12V. This wire is usually colored red. But beforehand, check the diagram from the manual to the central locking system. Having completed the connection, the central locking system should be connected to the already installed security system. This will allow you to open and close automatically the doors, as well as activate and deactivate the alarm system by pressing the appropriate button on the remote control. There is a block with fuses in the underhood space. To it are wires from the central locking system. Read also, ways to disable the alarm system on the car without a key fob. It cannot be said that the procedure for installing the central locking system is incredibly complicated. There are nuances and strict requirements in terms of sequence and accuracy of work. If you have some experience and knowledge about the device of your own car, the owner of the car will be able to do everything with his own hands. If you doubt your abilities, but you are sure that you need central locking, it is enough to contact specialists of the relevant profile. Professionals can cope with the connection literally for a couple of hours. Beginners, due to increased accuracy and excessive caution, the work takes 3 to 6 hours. Whether to do everything yourself or invite specialists, each car owner decides for himself. The only fact is that the central locking system simplifies the door control and allows you to close the car with one key without checking each door, windows, fuel tank hatch, or luggage compartment doors separately. Useful tips. There are some common mistakes that motorists regularly make when trying to install a central locking system on their vehicle. And here we are not talking about those who do not read the manual from the manufacturer, and everything is trying to do based on their experience, some knowledge, or banal trial and error method. It is so obvious that before installation, it is necessary to study the manual from the manufacturer of the central locking system, to understand the scheme, and only then to start work. In order not to make mistakes of other motorists, it is strongly recommended use corrugated tubes, where the wires from the central locking system are placed. The central locking system consists of a sufficiently large number of wires, each of which may be damaged, frayed, or kinked. As a result, there will be a partial or complete failure of the entire system. To prevent this from happening, there are special tubes with a corrugated structure. Placing wires in them, it is much better protected from damage. If you additionally use a layer of duct tape, the probability of rubbing the wire will be almost zero. If necessary, bend the pulls. For some reason, motorists are sure that it is very fragile, and therefore leave it in pristine condition. But the shape of the pole sometimes prevents you from placing it normally under the door trim. Try bending it a little to give it the necessary shape. This will make the installation more accurate and convenient. It is up to each individual to install the door lock or not. But those motorists whose cars have such systems claim that the central locking system is a very useful, convenient, and practical element of their vehicle. Nowadays, central locks are considered purely as an element of comfort, but it is fair to call it a component of car safety. After all, it is the central locking system that allows you to remember to close all doors, performs the function of window closer, prevents unauthorized attempts to drain fuel from the gas tank or get into the car through the luggage compartment. Taking into account all these factors, it is hardly surprising that almost all leading car manufacturers equip their models of any price segment with central locks, even in the basic configuration. But if you at one time bought a car without a central locking system, it does not prevent you from installing the system yourself, or with the help of specialists. Here the main thing is to buy a quality kit with the functions you need. In conclusion, central locking is an essential feature that enhances the security and convenience of your vehicle. By allowing you to lock or unlock all doors simultaneously, it simplifies access and provides peace of mind. Installing a central locking system may seem daunting, but with the right tools and guidance, it can be a straightforward process. Whether you're upgrading your car's security or simply looking for added convenience, central locking is a valuable investment that can improve your driving experience. Thank you for watching, and we hope this video has equipped you with the knowledge to enhance your vehicle.